In this video, I'm going to explain the science behind the Feel Great system. I want to show you why it's working so well for so many different people, even though they're not counting calories, eliminating carbohydrates, or doing any kind of extreme exercise. I'm also going to show you my before and after picture, which is kind of embarrassing, but I want to show you that it works. I'm also going to explain what to do to have a fantastic experience and get results. What I'm about to show you can be modified to fit any lifestyle. If you're struggling with cravings, low energy, brain fog, insulin resistance, for women, things like PCOS, for men, things like low testosterone, if you have lots of excess body fat, if you have high cholesterol, if you have metabolic syndrome, insulin resistance, or any of the problems that the Feel Great system helps address, this video is for you. Right now in the United States, only 12% of American adults are metabolically healthy. When one kid is failing the class, it may be an individual problem. But when all the kids are failing the class, it's not an individual problem. It's a systemic problem, and that's what we're dealing with. 50 years ago, we didn't have these problems. We didn't have an obesity epidemic, a diabetes epidemic. We didn't have a lot of metabolic syndrome or thyroid problems. But now we do. And so what changed? Well, I'm going to explain exactly what changed and how the Feel Great system helps us address it. Everybody in the world is familiar with white rice, but what many people don't know is that wild rice actually looks like this. Around the grain of rice is something called the bran. That's the fiber. We remove the fiber and only eat the white part. Food makers are taking things like this. They're removing all the good stuff so they can make us products like this. Show me any carbohydrate, any sugar in nature, and I will show you that God and Mother Nature intended for that to be packaged in fiber. Okay, so we're not getting fiber, so what, right? Well, it's a big deal. If you have diabetes or prediabetes, fiber is your friend because it helps with blood sugar control and weight management. It can also lower your risk of heart disease and some cancers. Fiber naturally reduces blood sugar and insulin spikes. Fiber also protects your heart. Fiber prevents your body from taking in some fat and cholesterol, lowering triglyceride and cholesterol levels to help you reduce your risk of heart disease. Heart disease is the #1 killer in America. Fiber is great for your digestive health. 1 out of 5 people in the United States have irritable bowel syndrome. This is very important for them. Fiber helps improve gut health. And fiber is extremely satiating. It keeps you feeling full and helps with weight management. Now, what happens if you remove all the fiber? Well, we get a diabetes epidemic, an obesity epidemic, a heart disease epidemic, IBS epidemic, a mental health epidemic. We didn't have these problems 50 years ago, but as we progressively remove the fiber from our diet, we're getting these problems. Now, in a perfect world, we would all have time to be making lush garden salads with fruits and veggies and herbs and seeds before every meal so that we could get the fiber that we need to be metabolically healthy. But because that's not always convenient or affordable, the Feel Great system has a very great solution for this, and that's the Balance product. 11 years ago, there was a very important study done at the University of Sydney. This is the home of the glycemic index. This was a study that everybody in the world should have heard about, but guess what? Nobody did. In the study, they looked at what happens when you eat carbohydrates like white bread. As expected, it causes a blood sugar spike and an insulin spike. This is very bad for people who like carbohydrates and are trying to lose weight or reduce their blood sugar. However, just taking 1 packet of Balance prior to eating reduced blood sugar levels by 20%, and 2 packets reduced by up to 28%. A study like this is of critical importance to anybody that's struggling with their blood sugar control or their weight, because if you can control blood sugar and insulin spikes, everything changes, right? You get all the health benefits of this clinically proven blend of plant fibers prior to your meals. You simply mix it with some water. By simply having the Balance before your meal, you're going to do a lot of things for your body. Number 1, it's going to fill you up. Fiber is very, very satiating. This helps people who struggle with overeating not overeat. One of my favorite things about this is there's no medication in it. It's just a natural way to control glucose levels, insulin levels, cholesterol levels, triglyceride levels. It's amazing for leptin signaling. Let me show you. This is the online version of the PDR, the prescriber's digital reference. This is a guide that doctors and medical professionals turn to learn about prescription drugs and their natural alternatives. And if you search for Unicity Balance, you can read all about Unicity Balance. There's nothing magic about Balance. It's pure science. You can read all about it here. Unicity Balance facilitates weight loss through 5 distinct mechanisms. We've already talked about some of these things. If you want more info, this is where you can find it. Balance is only one half of the Feel Great system, so let's talk about the other half, the Unimate. Another reason why 50 years ago we didn't have the same problems we have today is because 50 years ago we weren't snacking and eating all day. 50 years ago, when somebody came home from school and asked their mom and dad for a snack, the parents said, absolutely not, you'll spoil your dinner. And then before bedtime, if we asked for a snack, they would say, absolutely not, you should have eaten your dinner. But in the last 50 years, we've gone from 3 meals a day to more like 6 meals a day. We snack and we eat all the time. There's a great doctor, University of Toronto, named Dr. Jason Fung. He wrote a book called The Diabetes Code. He also wrote The Obesity Code. And he's done amazing things for people that struggle with obesity and type 2 diabetes. Listen to this. In Fung's clinic at the University of Toronto, most of the patients with type 2 diabetes have a complete reversal of the disease and are off all their medications in 3 to 6 months. Well, geez, that sounds amazing. How did he do it? Intermittent fasting. The modern diet is full of food. We eat and snack all day long. We also eat lots of refined carbohydrates, processed foods. Because of the modern diet, we're on a blood sugar roller coaster. That's the blue line. The glucose is the blood sugar. It spikes and crashes all day long. Purple line is the insulin, and when we have this type of an eating pattern, our insulin levels are high all day long. When insulin is elevated for a long period of time, we become insulin resistant. The Balance is much more than just a fiber supplement. In fact, I've searched far and wide and I cannot find its equal. The manufacturer has 4 different patents on this one product, so nobody can copy it. There's no medication in it. It's a natural blend of plant fibers, nutrients, vitamins that are completely safe. Now, when insulin levels are high and glucose levels are low, right here, we feel extremely hungry. And so throughout the day, you'll notice there's periods of extreme hunger. We feel hungry all the time. Thousands and thousands of years before we were eating and snacking all day, we were fasting and feeding. When we're fasting, insulin levels are typically low. That sends a message to the body to be burning stored fat for calories. And when we're feeding, insulin levels are typically high. That sends a signal to the body to be storing calories. So what Dr. Fung and several others figured out is that instead of eating and snacking all day long, we simply need to condense into fasting periods and feeding periods. When we're fasting, we're not starving. We're just switching energy sources. We're switching from food fuel over to fat for fuel. And this is the reason why our body stores fat in the first place, so that it can be used for fuel while we're fasting. Once your body switches over to burning fat for fuel, you actually don't feel hungry all the time. Now, in order to keep burning fat for fuel, we need to avoid snacking. Snacking is the enemy, and this is the hard part, right? There's actually a way to make this much, much easier. When we're feeding, I like to enjoy good food. We all do. We don't want to feel like we're on a restrictive diet, right? However, it's still important to avoid glucose and insulin spikes and avoid overeating. Again, that's the hard part. But there's a way to make this much easier as well. This is what it looks like. When we wake up, we fast through the morning. This keeps our insulin levels low, and while insulin is low, we can regain some insulin sensitivity. And the Unamate is used to help you extend your fast. And while we're fasting, we burn fat for fuel. When it's time to eat, at least once a day, we want to use balance with our meal. This helps limit the glucose and insulin spike. The fiber is also very satiating. It helps me avoid overeating. And it is possible to order extra balance if you want to get as much as possible. The balance helps us avoid glucose and insulin spikes and helps us avoid overeating. And the Unamate is the most effective thing I've ever tried at helping me avoid snacking, and I'm a snacker. You can take the Unamate hot or cold. I personally like it with lots of water and ice, and I sip this once every 10 or 20 minutes. The Unamate is extremely good at helping you extend your fast. Unamate has a bunch of health benefits, and it's also in the physician's desk reference. And the Unamate comes from hand-picking yerba mate leaves, fire roasting them, extracting the chlorogenic acid, concentrating it, and purifying it. Right now, there are hundreds of studies being done on the effects of chlorogenic acid. Chlorogenic acid is a dietary polyphenol. It's anti-diabetic, anti-carcinogenic, anti-inflammatory, and anti-obesity. Chlorogenic acid is also fantastic for naturally lowering blood pressure. If we know that fiber addresses many of the health problems that we face today, and intermittent fasting also addresses many of those, why not just combine the two? And that's what the Feel Great system is. There are all kinds of people with all kinds of health problems, both men and women, from all walks of life, that have completely changed their life by using the Feel Great system. When you order the protocol, you get 2 packets of Unamate each day and 1 packet of Balance. And the cost is about $5 per day. However, most people find that they actually save money on the Feel Great system. That's because they're usually fasting through 1 meal a day and they're cutting out snacks, diet soda, things like that with the Unamate. One thing that a lot of people worry about is, hey, I've tried lots of different things in the past. They haven't worked for me. What if this doesn't work for me? We hear that from time to time, and I agree that $150 is a lot of money to waste on something if it doesn't work. But because the protocol and the products are 100% science-based, the manufacturer offers a 90-day money-back guarantee. Use it properly, be consistent, and it won't let you down. If you're unsatisfied for any reason, get a refund. When you go to order, there's lots of information here about the protocol, and when you click Buy Now, it allows you to select your flavors, and if you do the monthly subscription, you get an additional $10 discount. You can cancel this anytime. You get free shipping and a free gift. This gives you a really nice lifetime discount on all future orders, and you can read all about the 90-day money-back guarantee right here. I personally followed this protocol, and I was super impressed by the results. There are hundreds of millions of wonderful people all over the world that are struggling with these problems, and the Feel Great system is a guaranteed, science-based approach at addressing these problems at their root. Based on everything I've seen and my own personal experience, I believe the Feel Great system is going to cover the planet and help a lot of people. I hope this video has been helpful for you.